I love trying new inks, so I have 4 new ones to sample today. We're going to be swatching them in my Ironful notebook. We're also going to be making some swatch cards on my col-o-rings and seeing how they all play out. I'm super excited to sample these. 3 of them are inks that I was thinking about using for the fall, so we'll see what I think. And one is an ink that I had to get because of the name. So the one I had to get for the name is, and I believe this is a Vanessa exclusive, but I could be wrong, but it's by Robert Oster and it's Bless Your Heart. And this one is kind of a purpley ink. So I'm excited to try that one. We have Dominant Industries Earl Grey Tea, which is kind of a reddish brown. The next one is Autumn Oak by Diamine, and this one was just really intriguing. Another like reddish brown color. And then we have Dominant Industries Unknown Land. I think this is a newer ink, and it is, of course, in those brown tones. Let me take you through how we're going to do this. So in case you haven't seen any of my ink swatching videos, I'm really fond of the plastic bag method where you just put a drop or two of the ink on here and then you squish it out with the plastic bag. It's really satisfying for me, and you get to see a lot of the variation in the ink. So we're going to be doing that. And then I also have a Kakamori dip nib here that I'll be using to write out like the name of the ink and see how it performs in a dip pen, which isn't always the same as what you're going to get in a regular pen, but it gives you an idea. So we're going to do that, and we'll make our swatch card. I'll probably use the leftover from swatching it out with or squashing the ink out with the bag to make our big area. We'll write on the name, and then I'll use a cotton swab just to put a line across the bottom. I find that really easy for comparing inks, and that way I don't have any white between me and the ink. I think I want to start actually with the browns and then end with the purple. I've been really curious about this. I'm a big tea drinker. And so I don't know the name. There's a couple of different Earl Grey ones. I think Diamine might have one as well, but I liked the color of this one more. And for the drops, you don't need very much at all. So just a little bit right there. And I do have just a paper plate that I set these on, so I'm not making a huge mess on my desk. So we'll go ahead and squash you out. Very orangey. I was expecting less orangey, but you know, totally fine. So usually I have more on the bag, so maybe I'll add a drop here or two. Yeah, and we'll just kind of spread it out a little bit. Yeah, definitely a lot more orange than I was thinking. We'll see if it dries any differently, but that's surprising to me because I definitely was thinking more brown. But maybe the other Earl Grey is more brown. We'll see. Oh, I can't dip if I close it, can I? Sorry, I realized how far away you guys are, so I'm fixing that. I don't know. I'm intrigued by this one. I think I might like it for like fall leaves. Maybe if I can make a leaf. I don't know. We'll just make a little swatch thing. It's almost a leaf, right? And we'll do a little squiggle here. I think the flow is really nice on this. It almost was a little watery up here. With the dip nib, the angle makes a big difference. And if it's a drier ink, having the lower angle works better. And if it's wetter, the higher. And I think this is maybe a little bit wetter. It is harder to write on this paper than it is on here. It's almost like a watercolor paper. Okay, and our little swatch at the bottom. This is a standard ink, so I don't have any shimmer or anything to add to it, but definitely very orange. We'll see how that turns out as it dries. Next, we're going to do the Autumn Oak by Diamine. This one, I don't know. I've been intrigued by it, but it's been sold out in so many places that I haven't been able to get my hands on it. So I think this one is more of like a yellow orange. I'm like, I just did that in the wrong order. Okay, we're going to go ahead and write it. Ooh. Did I spell that right? Yes. Ooh. Interesting. That's an even worse one. It's okay. It's all right. It looks very red in the pipette. Oh, and more orange there. Interesting. I wonder how this is going to dry in comparison. And I did get these samples from Vanessa, by the way. And I like the fact that you get a 4 milliliter sample opposed to like a 2 milliliter sample. On to Diamine Industries' Unknown Land, which I'm expecting to be a brown, not an orange. Like Earl Grey almost makes me think of one of the colors from the Diamine Ink Vent calendar this last year without the sheen. And I could be wrong on that. We'll have to compare at the end. Oh, nice brown. Very large swatch, though. Yeah, I think I need a little bit more. I'm seeing some green in this, actually, which is intriguing. Because I wasn't expecting green hues, but I feel like there are some. And I was spelling dominant wrong up above. I am so sorry, everyone. I wonder why they decided to name it Unknown Land. I'm always interested in why they came up with the names that they did. Yeah, that's like the worst leaf in the history of the world. And our little swatch on the bottom. Oh, that could be quite light, depending. And our last ink is that Bless Your Heart, which I do think has shimmer to it. So we need to make sure that we are moving it around and kind of agitating it. So I think it's all integrated. We'll probably have to shake it again before we do our dips for our writing. Oh, that's a really pretty color. I'm going to like that one a lot. there was a color in the ink vent this last year that was, I think, a little bit similar to this. It was a scented ink though. And I really like Diatramentus Blackberry, which I think is in the same realm, but doesn't have the shimmer qualities. So interesting. Just gonna flip it a few times and then we'll do our writing. And the shimmer seems finer than what I've seen in some of my other Robert Oster inks, which I think bodes well for it in a pen for me. Such a southern name. I wonder if I haven't actually looked or paid attention, but I do wonder now, is Vanessa located in the South? They must be. Because that, like, seriously, in the US, that's a super Southern thing. It's like how we tell you off without telling you off, I think. And then just our little swatch at the bottom. I really like purpley pinks, so I feel like I'm gonna love this color. Oh no, I smeared it when I had to move it. Well, shoot. Yeah, I like that color. Just for funs. All right, I'm going to let all of these dry and then we're going to take a closer look at them and see if we have other inks in my arsenal that match up to them. All right, now everything is dry. It actually has been a couple of days, so these are really dry, but let's take a closer look at all of them and talk about other inks I might have in my arsenal that are similar or have some shared qualities with them. First is that Dominant Industries Earl Grey. Definitely a more orange than a brown orange, but I like the sheening that it seems to have here. There's just a tad of red to it that I think is really intriguing. That's how it turned out on Ironful paper, and here it is on my col-o-ring. So a little bit even more orange, I feel like, on the col-o-rings than it was on the paper here. As far as colors in my arsenal that we might have that are similar, I think the base color has some shared qualities to, this is from the Diamine ink vent. This was Grotto. And I feel like there's some similarities there, although it doesn't have the green sheen that Grotto does. Definitely not Fruit Cocktail. There are a few others though in here, I thought. So here is Ancient Copper. So you can definitely see how this is more of a reddish brown than an orange. But I thought it would be nice to compare them because I often see these kind of linked together in some way along with the Diamine Autumn Oak, which we'll look at in a minute. The other color that, this is a color that I've been trying to find something similar to because I really like this color and the way this ink performs. I just don't like the company. But the orangey quality in here, I mean, this is a shade lighter, but they are kind of in that same realm as far as the darker part of this opposed to the lighter. Overall, I think this is going to be a fun ink to try for the fall, especially as the leaves start to change and everything. Our next color is the Diamine Autumn Oak. Now, this is a color I had been intrigued by and I was really excited about getting, but I don't like it as much in person as I thought I would. It kind of has like this muddy quality. It almost makes me think of like dried blood in an aspect. to be honest, because it has more of this brownie tone, but it's still very red. It's kind of hard to describe. But as far as colors that I have in this realm, and there really isn't much, because as you can see, I don't have a lot of orangey tones. But so definitely not really grotto, because this is more orange. Maybe closer to Sleigh Ride without the sheening qualities, because there is a kind of a mutualness in that darker portion here. But other than that, I don't know that I have anything else. And I was going to show this one along with Ancient Copper again, because like I said, these are colors that I often see put together. And there's Ancient Copper next to it. I much prefer Ancient Copper to the Autumn Oak, and I thought it was going to be the other way around, but definitely not. There are those two. They definitely have some similarities in the darker portion here, like that color. And if that was how the whole pen wrote, I think that would be definitely closer. But it wasn't. So I'm not sure what to expect when I put it in a pen, but I definitely prefer the Ancient Copper to the Autumn Oak. Next, we have Dominant Industries Unknown Land. And this one was interesting. So when I first put it down on this paper, the color because you can see that there's quite a bit of a tonal difference. This is definitely a lot warmer on this paper and much cooler on the other. So when I put it down on this paper, the immediate thought that came to mind was, oh, Esterbrook's Forgotten Iced Coffee, the collaboration ink that they did with Coffee Monster Co. But that's not this color. So let me pull that out. Let me get the right rings to show you what that looks like. So here is Forgotten Iced Coffee. And while there are some similarities, I think they both have that same undertone of almost a greenish color. Unknown Land is definitely warmer. So if you like Forgotten Iced Coffee, but you want something that's a little bit warmer, I would try this Unknown Land. I think you might like it a lot. As far as other colors that I have in this realm, so here's Noodler's Polar Brown. This is definitely more brown, not as much shading going on, not as much intensity to the color, and definitely more of like a warmer tone and a lighter tone here. I did wonder about Majestic Maple Syrup, which is a very, very light color from Ferris Wheel Press. And obviously it doesn't have the shimmer, but I think the undertone isn't too far off there. So if you have Majestic Maple Syrup, you like the overall tone, but you want something that's a little darker, I might try this. This was Salted Caramel, and those two might be about as close as I could get. They definitely have different qualities. There's more sheening involved here. There's shimmer. It has all the things, but for a base tone, not too far off. And I think that's everything for that one. I definitely like this one. I wouldn't mind having a bottle of it. But right now I have Forgotten Iced Coffee, and that might be close enough for me, plus a sample. And our last color is that Bless Your Heart, which I think this is a really beautiful color. I like kind of muted purples. And this one has all the things. As long as it writes really well. The one thing I've had a problem with my Robert Oster inks is that sometimes the shimmer is too intense, like Sidewalk Gum, which is an Atlas exclusive ink. That one I haven't found a pen that really works in yet for me, but I do love these tones. So let's see what else I have. And it did work really well on the pen, like my dip pen. So this is Robert Oster's Cherry Blossom, which is a very purpley pink, or pinky purple, purpley pink, pinky purple. But I think I share some commonalities there. It's almost like this is a slightly deeper shade with some shimmer added to it. So I really like those two. Here is Pink Squirrel in comparison. I think Cherry Blossom is closer, but those two are a nice set together if you want different shades. Ferris Wheel Press's Ambrosia Indulgence is more pinky. And then Writer's Blood is starting to get more red. Gatu, I think that's how you say it, is more, I mean, they're not too far off, but they're not match. So I think those are my closest matches for Bless Your Heart. I'm looking forward to experimenting with this one. I think it's going to be really fun. I might ink it up for this next month. I haven't decided, but I love those like really deep purple qualities of it. And I think the shimmer is going to be really nice. And it almost has like a black sheen a little bit there. So I think that's going to be fun as well. I might use this one more towards like winter months because I feel like that's going to match really well. But anyhow, that's everything I have today. Which ink did you like the best? Let me know down below. And until next time, I'll see you real soon.